Well, I said I would make some separate videos about some specific topics that I had touched on earlier in regard to making your choice for where you want to go for study abroad. So one of the things I think that's extremely important to consider is finances. Okay, so to kind of explain how study abroad works as far as finances, this is what happens is you'll find a program, it will state, okay, it costs, let's just say $8,000. Okay. That $8,000 is going to cover some things. It's going to be just like a semester at home, right? So it's going to cover the classes that you take. Depending on your program provider and where you go, there could be a meal plan involved with that. There could be housing involved with that. But bear in mind, there could not be a meal plan and there could not be housing involved with that. So you have to look really closely at what that total means, right? Like what it equates to. So for myself and my program, that's all I can use as an example. My flights were not included, right? So financial aid of whatever you have will take care of your semester. What they'll call it is they'll defer your loans, grants, scholarships, whatever. They'll defer it for the program start date in the other country. So for mine, I start on January 11th is the actual start date, and my financial aid from my home university will be sent to me directly, and then I have to directly pay my program providers. Okay, it'll be dispersed. They make a deal between one another and defer it, and then I pay my program provider, not the college that I'm going to. I pay the program provider. Okay. So, but on top of that, there's going to be other expenses that you have to consider. You must consider the fact that, like with my program, I had to purchase all of my textbooks here. Okay. Some they provide on site, like virtually, or they just have them at the classes. But 80% of the books for my classes I had to order ahead of time. I'm really lucky. The university that I go to, they don't have, oh, I don't have one right here with me, but they don't have the full size textbooks, the big ones, the 8x10 ones. They have just the little 5x7s. So I do have to put those in my luggage. But anyway, that is an expense I had to put out before leaving. Another expense that for myself that I had to put out before leaving was the flights. Flights to any other country can be up to $1,600, just depending on where you're going, and depending on when you book the flights. So that's another thing to bear in mind, is that you're going to have your flight booked. Your flight is not taken care of in that total that they give you for how much the program costs. Also for myself, in the program that I'm in, the housing is not included in the cost. So they give you that total, and then they usually will tell you how much the housing is, right? But it's not included in the total program price. Some programs will have homestays where you stay with a family. Some programs will have where you stay on campus, and that's part of the program price. And then other programs will allow you to get your own accommodations. You can find Airbnbs that you can stay in for the program time, or, whatever the case may be. But my whole point is that you do have to put out money before you actually leave. So in saying that, just understand that whether you have scholarships, financial aid, whatever, that money is not going to come until after you have left. So you will have to have some chunk of money ahead of time to pay for some things. And I think another thing that is important to consider on the financial aspect, before you choose where you want to go, I would look at the exchange rate. The exchange rate of the USD, United States money, compared to where you're going. For myself and where I'm going, you know, $1 equals 33 baht, which is what the money is called in Thailand. Um, and so I looked at the daily expenses. So how much does a meal cost in Thailand? How much do groceries cost? How much does milk cost? Those daily expenses are really important because they're going to be a big chunk of where your money goes once you get there. So when looking at a program, look at daily life expenses for the place you're going. I got lucky with my program. You know, I can buy a meal in Thailand, like a breakfast for $2 and lunch $2 dinner maybe $3-4 so that's pretty inexpensive. Also, you know, find out, I know that with Thailand, people usually don't eat at home. They eat out because it's less expensive. The groceries there are actually quite expensive from what I understand. So knowing those things is in regard to finances ahead of time is really, really important. I want to make sure that I've covered everything. Oh, and then the last thing, and this is just what I did. I think it's extremely important as well. They do have this on our program provider's website, but there's more to it than what they have, is making a budget. Making a budget is huge. Understanding how much money you're going to have, whether it's through the financial aid refunds or the money that you've saved up or the money that you have in your savings account or whatever the case may be, understanding, because there's no way in another country that you can make money. So making a budget and saying, okay, I have X amount of money, that means I can spend X amount per day. You don't want to be in another country and all of a sudden be broke. That's probably a very terrifying feeling. I personally would not want to be in that situation. So, sorry, my glasses were driving me crazy. So it's really important to examine that and stick to a budget because, like I said, I believe it would be quite terrifying to be in another country and not have any money. So, so I think that overall I've covered the financial stuff. If you have any more questions, definitely put them in the comments. But finances are a huge, huge piece in considering where you want to go for your study abroad.